where we're starting right now is under customer analysis, but to give you more of an idea of what's all included in marketing, we're going to be looking at dashboards from the customer analysis, basket analysis, marketing, and customer segmentation. So that's, and I believe that Store Compare, there's some premium dashboards in here too. That's made up of the marketing suite for the retailer premium marketing subscription. I know it's a bit confusing, so that's why I wanted to kind of create a course like this that goes through everything that's included. I'm not going to be looking at Store Compare though. That's the one thing that I've opted out of looking at today. So we're going to be taking a little bit of a tour of each of these and pointing out the most exciting dashboards or the most useful dashboards, I'll say, in my opinion, from my experience in training this all the time. So when we're thinking about marketing, there's a lot to think about, of course, but I think we can really start to understand what our goals are with marketing. I know some customers, maybe they've just entered a new region. They want to really get new customers to the store. So that's one goal that they can have with their marketing efforts. Another one might be to increase average basket size across customers that are already coming to the store. So we can look, that's the main goal I'm going to focus on today, is understanding, what our customer counts look like, what their average basket looks like, when our customers that are spending the most money coming to the store. So that's the goal that we're going to be focusing on. But there's a lot of different things we can do and we can find within marketing, as you'll find out in just a second. So with customer analysis, there's lots of different dashboards in here. We're going to be focusing on customer counts. We're also going to take a dive into customer revenue and trips, product purchase behavior, as well as demographics by hour. So customer counts is great for understanding at a baseline how many customers are shopping at your store in a given time frame. If you're newer to Headset, which I don't know if, I think the majority of you have some experience with Headset at least, you probably understand how to work the filters. If not, feel free to throw your name into the chat and I can send you a little video snippet on how to work all of our filters if that's something that you're getting caught up on. But just for today, I have my one store, and for you guys to understand, we're just looking at our demo data. So this is no one's real retailer data that we're going through today. So Emerald Valley, Denver, that's the store I'm looking at. I want to look at the last 90 days to get kind of a nice healthy idea of how many customers have been shopping within the last 90 days. I'm breaking out the time period into weeks. And then I am just grouping, or I'm bringing in all of my demographics. So female and male, and then all of the age groups here. You'll see a drop down if you click into this. For those of you who just joined, hello, welcome. Please feel free to ask questions along the way. I'm happy to pause and answer them. Cool. Okay, so we have all of our filters set up. I'm not going to run through each filter that we have in the dashboards just for time's sake, but I just wanted to point out those that are probably the most common that you'll see throughout the marketing dashboards. Okay, so down here we have availability of customer data. So we can see how many customers are shopping, about 4,000 in the last 90 days, percent of transaction with customer information coming through, and then these other percentages as well. This is the information that we're capturing on age group as well as gender. So when you are capturing like the IDs when they come into the store or through your loyalty program, that's where this data is coming from your point of sale. Customer trends, we can see this is just a nice trend graph over time. So we can see how many customers are shopping each day. If you hover over these are going to be actually broken out by week in the last 90 days. And then you can also see, if there is a period over period change there. But this is just to point out to help you identify any customer trends. So like maybe in December, it dipped down a little bit right before the holidays. If you did some big promotion, you might want to see an increase of customers shopping, things like that. You can start to notice with these trends here. And then the last piece of customer account information, again, this is just really, really high level. customer count breakdown. So if you are trying to focus on males, females, age group, that sort of thing, these customer count visuals will be helpful. It's no surprise that millennial males here are the most frequent customers shopping at your store. And at this particular store, we also have a decent amount of the age group 46 to 55. And then we don't have quite as many females, which is probably really consistent with any one of maybe your retailer locations as well. That's a pretty consistent trend that we see across the board. All right, and then you can see that broken out by pie charts too. So customer count by age group is probably the only other one I would point out is what is the biggest slice of the pie. It's likely millennials shopping, but also a good chunk of 46 to 55 here. Okay, so quick overview of what your customer accounts look like. This is also a good place to verify that, you know, your customer accounts line up with what you think they are. If there's any data discrepancies, you can chat into our support bubble here, and they can help you out with, you know, if something looks off and it needs to be adjusted. Okay, so that's customer accounts. Next place I'm going to go is I'm actually going to skip around just for a second. I'm going to go under marketing into cohort analysis. Cohort analysis is a great pairing or a great place to go next after customer accounts, because this will help you understand your retention rate. Retention rate, important to understand, you know, if you're bringing back those customers that initially came to you in the last few months. So how this retention rate works is we're looking at each month over whatever date of first purchase you select. So we're looking at new customers and the retention rate of new customers in the last 120 days. So October, for example, is our first month. The 0 here in the column section is going to be that month of October. So 100% of new customers were retained because that's how many new customers came into your store that day. The next column after that is the month after October. So November is going to be the next month. And we're looking at the percentage of customers that were retained from that October month. So 24% out of the customers, the new customers in October, came back the following month. Same concept. And the last column, or the last column here in each of these rows, is always going to look smaller because it's the current month that we're in. So of course, we haven't finished February yet. Those numbers are still being added to each day.
Can I ask a question about this? Because I love cohort analysis.
Yeah.
How is the difference in customer purchase frequencies incorporated into this? Because retention would look different for somebody who's a 2-week frequency versus 3-month frequency.
I'm not sure if I understand your question. Could you maybe rephrase it?
Hopefully I can do that. The person who purchases today and then purchases again in March would be retained in month 1, right?
Correct.
A month out. But a person who doesn't purchases today, doesn't purchase in March, but does purchase out in April, doesn't count as a retained customer in March because they didn't purchase. So how does the in and out flow of customers get tracked?
Yeah, so in your scenario with someone who purchases today, let's say that's month 0, so they're included in that 100%. And we had this going out to the month of April, they would be retained, or they would be included in whatever percentage number this is. So it's not just looking at, like 22.3% of this 24% were retained. It's going all the way back to this 0 month. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, they wouldn't be incorporated into 1, 2. They'd be incorporated into whatever number March is.
Exactly. Yeah.
April is. I'm sorry. Yep. Cool.
Yep. So yeah, they would be included in this percentage because it would be looking all the way back at who these customers were. And then to kind of tie a bow on this customer retention piece, you're probably like, okay, cool, but how many people were actually coming in? What's my new customer count? You can scroll down here, look at new customer by month, and then hover over any one of these customer counts. So for example, the October number that we're looking at, we can find October, hover over, our new customer count was 363. So 24% of this 363 came back the next month. Any more questions on this piece? All right. Cool. Great question, Jesse. Thanks for asking. The next piece I'm going to head into is customer revenue and trips. This is found under customer analysis as well. There's a lot of my favorite dashboards are on customer analysis. So customer revenue and trips is really understanding the sweet spot of like getting your customers back in the door. How many trips should they come back for? There's a couple of different thoughts on marketing to customers. We don't necessarily want them to come in one time during a 3-month period and just stock up. We want them to keep coming back into the store so that they'll spend a little bit more. Maybe they're browsing the shelves if they're allowed to do that in your retailer location, and they're picking up other little random things along the way. Whereas if they just came in once and stocked up on everything they need, they wouldn't be exposed to that impulse purchase behavior. So it's really starting to get into psychology a little bit, which I'm not an expert on, but that's just kind of what I've learned along the way, understanding how your customers shop at your stores. So customer revenue and trip will give you a histogram of your customers shopping, and it's pretty cool. We can see the difference between number of customers coming into your store as well as what that means in terms of total sales. So we're going to look at the first 2 bar graphs here, or the first 2 bars, the 1 trip and 2 trippers. You'll notice that the count of customers in the light blue bar is larger, takes up a larger amount than the actual total sales in period. We would likely want to see the inverse of that. So we want to see our customers spending more, which would mean that the light blue bar is lower than the dark blue bar. So this is going to be true usually throughout any retailer, is the 1 trip and 2 trippers are going to be more customers than the total sales that they're bringing in. We can see that 1 trippers here have 115 customers and about 4,800 in sales. Whereas if we look at the 4 to 6 and 7 to 9, we can see what we kind of want to see is our count of customers is a little bit higher than initially, but we're bringing in a lot more sales. So that means that those people that are coming in more often are spending a little bit more when they come into the store. Same with 7 to 9 trippers. So there's only 24 customers that are coming in 7 to 9 times in the last 90 days, but they're bringing in $7,000. So that's where we can start to look at, the difference between those trips and see how much revenue they're bringing in the more often they come into the store. There's a lot of fun graphs in this one. I'm not going to go through all of them, but this starts to really break down customers, revenue information, and then also breaking it out by demographics. So if you have extra time after this, you can take a little deeper dive into all of these colorful graphs here and identify, who's coming into your store more often, what groups of customers are making up these 4 to 6, 7 to 9 trips. So it looks like just off of first glance, females, maybe millennials probably are most likely the 4 to 6 or 7 to 9 groups. All right, so that's customer revenue and trips. One of my favorite dashboards there.
Amelia, sorry,
Yeah.
it's me again.
No problem.
Customer revenue and trips, and I guess this applies across Headset. So I've used other platforms. I'm new to Headset. can I drill down into those different segments and export my own customer list and contact info?
So that is, I'll show you how to do that towards the end of this training. That's
Cool,
a pretty
thank you.
common question. Yeah, that's going to be all in our customer segmentation piece. So I will make sure to kind of wrap all of this up with the customer segmentation. Good question. Okay. Awesome. So we're going to jump into basket analysis now to understand what these people are actually purchasing. So basket analysis is down here under customer analysis. We'll look at the basket analysis details. Details is my preferred dashboard to look at if you were to look at any of them in here, just because it will give you a good idea of basket penetration and what's a driver versus passenger product. So basket analysis details, we can look at basket statistics here. You can also slice this by different types of data. So if you want to look at your vendors, your brands, I prefer to look at it by category first, just to get an idea, and then you can switch it to vendor or brand if you want to understand, like, okay, what brand is really being purchased most frequently out of a certain category. You can get pretty granular with this type of information. So with the basket statistics, this is the first visual that I would probably start to look at. This will give you an idea of basket penetration and what that total basket size looks like when a certain category is showing up in a basket. So this flower, for example, stands out to me. It's no surprise that flower is probably going to be the highest percentage of basket penetration. Pre-rolls are also pretty commonly higher basket penetration. And then we can see what that total basket size looks like. So when flowers in the basket, looks like it's almost 46 bucks for a basket. And when pre-rolls are in a basket, it looks like it's about $28, which makes sense. Pre-rolls is usually a lower price point item. However, when we look at capsules and tinctures and topicals, maybe those are a little bit more pricey products. Capsules, only less than 1% of basket penetration, but it brings in almost $57. So we can start to think about, like, maybe there's opportunity for bundle deals, maybe, you know, depending on how your store is laid out, maybe putting some of these lower price point items somewhere else so people can just grab and go, or higher price point items. Again, I'm no marketing expert. This is just theories, ideas that I've heard throughout my time at Headset. But that's something we can start to think about. And then when we scroll down here, the other visual that I really like is this basket composition. So this helps you understand what's a driver versus passenger product. And what we mean by that is when we see more sales going to a specific product, that's a driver product. That's what the customer came in to purchase. And then there's other products that they purchase along the way. So for example, when we look at flour here, we see sales of product is about 34 bucks and other products in that basket is about 12. So what are those other products that those people are purchasing? And we'll be able to see that in the next dashboard called attachment rate. A passenger product might be a non-cannabis related item. So that's a perfect example. People come in to purchase non-cannabis, maybe they need an accessory, and then they might pick up a couple of other products along the way. Right. Any questions on this basket analysis detail here? Okay. To bring it all together, this basket analysis, I'm going to look at attachment rate here. So I'm going to click into attachment rate at the top. That's going to be at the very bottom of basket analysis. When I was talking about what are those other products that people are purchasing along with the driver products, we can look at that in attachment rate. So this is really helpful for when you're starting to understand, like, what are the bundle deals I can do? Are there any you know, special things I can do? Can we create a really cool promotion? Maybe you can even bundle up to 3 products and do like a little discount on them. Things like that to entice your customers to come back a little bit more often. when we talk about like that sweet spot of maybe 4 to 9 trips within the last 90 days, how do we get people to come back and do that? So the attachment rate here, I'm going to skip this colorful thing. This is great if you want to dive into percentages and be a real nerd about things. Total combination baskets makes more sense in my mind. So what we can notice is, I'm going to stick with our flower example, our flower table here. We're looking at the total combo baskets when flower is included. So we see the big number here is 6,603. That's when flower is purchased just by itself, or when flower shows up in the basket. So we're not going to look at these big numbers here. We want to look at the next biggest number. So flower and pre-rolls. Total combo basket in the last 90 days is 1,106. That's a lot of baskets that those were paired with. So perfect opportunity for like a little bundle. Or if you want to bundle something with flower that's maybe a higher price point item to increase that average basket, maybe you know, we can look at like vapor pens or even concentrates have a decent attachment rate to flower. So that's something you could consider doing too. Is this all making sense? Am I totally confusing anybody? Any questions here?
I do have a quick question, and I apologize for this question. So while this has been going on, I have had an ELMA inspection, so I had to walk away. Is this going to be recorded where I can view this?
Yeah, this is recorded.
Later?
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's all I need. I apologize. Thank you for your help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I totally understand. Yep, I'll send this out afterwards.
Thank you.
All right, Bertrand wants a explanation of the percentage table. Yes, I can do that for you. So up here, the attachment rate, the percentages, what we're looking at here is we want to see percentage of baskets containing other categories. So when we're looking at, let's just pick one, edibles, for example. When edibles are in the basket, beverages are showing up 26.7% of the time. Maybe that's a bad example because some categories like beverages are edibles. Let's move to flower here. So beverage is showing up 18.3% of the time here. Or maybe it's the opposite. I might have to double check on this. You know what? I think it's the opposite. So when beverage, because we're looking at this product dimension, when beverage is in the basket, flower is showing up 18.3% of the time. Because if we look down here, when flower is in the basket, beverages are showing up 2.1% of the time, which makes a little bit more sense based on the combo of baskets down here. So you always want to kind of guess and check, like even though these are green cells, which means they have a higher attachment rate than other categories, they have less baskets associated. So like edibles, for example, don't have that many baskets or as many baskets as like, let's say flower, because they have, they're just maybe not as popular of a category at this store. Does that make sense? Did I explain that? Okay. Basically, we're looking at the product dimension and just scroll over to the right if you want to see how frequently the other categories show up in that basket. And then I would also do like a cross-reference with the total combination basket. So if it's like a really low combination number, then that green percentage maybe doesn't have as much weight as like a green flower percentage. It gets a little confusing, but I hope that kind of makes more sense. Cool. Thank you for validating that. All right, guys, I'm going to move on from attachment rate and we're going to go into product purchase behavior. That's also in customer analysis. The next two are actually going to be both in customer analysis, and then we'll end the training with customer segmentation. So I am going to click into product purchase behavior. This is another one of my favorite dashboards. This helps us to understand the cannabis wallet of each of our customers. So how much money are they willing to spend on each category? Again, we have customer data availability. It's been the same kind of data availability that we've seen in previous dashboards during this training. The first place we can go is sales splits by gender and sales splits by generation. This is great if you want to understand, what's the breakdown between males, females? Are there any strong preferences between the genders or age groups? We can see here, males typically are heavily purchasing concentrates way more than females. So if we think back to that idea of maybe bundling like a flower and a concentrate, maybe target males because they're the ones that are more likely to purchase that concentrate than a female. We can also understand like age group wise, which males are purchasing concentrates. This is where we could get a little bit more granular and just focus on males if we want to understand that a little bit more. So you can click off the female here, refresh and bring in just the male data. But what we can do from there is look at our concentrates again when it's focusing just on males and see what age group is purchasing those concentrates. So not surprising, millennial males are purchasing concentrates more often than any other age group. So again, we could maybe do that bundle deal, flower and concentrates. Then what we can do in the next dashboard is see when millennial males are shopping. And then do some sort of marketing campaign or text blast to get them into that store and take advantage of that specific deal. And then what we can do down here is look at cannabis wallet by gender. I think the most important one to me anyway is this gender sales share and index. This just lays it out really simply. What I like to explain with this is if a male and female walk into your store with $100 bill, how much of that $100 is going towards each category? So females, for example, when we're looking at vapor pens, they walk into the store, have $100. They're going to spend about $31.50 towards a vapor pen category, $25 towards flour, less than $1 on topicals. Same thing with this male column right here. We can understand exact same situation. When there's a green tile here, that means that it's leaning towards females. Females are spending more money on that category than males. When it's red or yellowish, that means that it's leaning towards males. So males, again, we can see concentrates are probably their most, or more males are buying than females. All right, and then before I take any questions, I'm just gonna go to this demographic by hour here. And we're almost done with this training. You guys are doing great. The demographic by hour really helps to kind of paint this picture and tie up like, okay, who's purchasing and when are they purchasing it? The hourly sales by gender, this is showing us when males are most frequently coming into this store. So we could even drill down into a specific age group here. Going along our little story of concentrates and flour, we could refresh this, look at only 26 to 35-year-olds and see when males are coming into the store that are in that age group. I didn't slice by gender because it does a pretty good job of just clearly looking at specific genders here. Males are most frequently shopping around 3 p.m. that are in the millennial age group. And sometimes they come in around, oh God, what hour is that? I'm so bad at 24-hour conversion. It's sometime in the evening. So you can look at these little line charts to see when they're coming in most often. Same situation with this indexing gender, just displayed in a different format. So that's hourly sales.
This isn't a question. I just wanted to say thank you for this platform because this level of granularity with data is amazing. Never seen this.
Awesome. Good to hear, Jesse. Thanks for the compliment. I'm glad this is recorded. Yeah, and then down here, the hourly sales by age group, we can see what when these guys are coming in. How is this different? Hourly sales by gender. Oh, sorry, this is by gender and this is by age group. So the specific millennial age group is coming in, same situation, 3 p.m. All right. Any questions on the last two dashboards that I went through? Is this all making sense? Are you able to like maybe visualize yourself creating some sort of story with your own data and kind of creating some sort of marketing initiatives with this?
Yes, I hate to be the person who keeps taking all the time, but are there, wow, I just fumbled that one. Can you save a whole slew of different gender, age, date range metrics for like a quick list to keep going back to?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you asked that. Yes. So with this bookmark button over here in the upper right, you can add this as a dashboard. Name it whatever makes sense to you. I would recommend being more specific than not. Once you name it, you could also share it with the other users of Headset in your organization, or you could just keep it for yourself and then click apply. I actually did this exact same thing to prepare for this training. So if I go down to the bottom left navigation bar, you can open my favorites. This is where the ones that you saved just for yourself will live. And I actually have like 7 different dashboards for our marketing basics course that I saved so that when I prepare for this, I can just open all of them and run through it. Same concept applies for when you're just like running through an analysis. You can open up multiple ones like that. And it'll save all of the filters in real time. If you have a date range like is in the last 90 days, that's going to be like a running, I don't know how to explain it, but hopefully you understand. It's going to be real time, so it'll update within the last 90 days, no matter what day you go into it. And then when you share a favorite, you can go down all the way to the bottom under shared, and these are going to be the ones that have been shared with you. You can also look at manage favorites by this particular area here, and it will show all of your favorites within a tile format. So yeah, lots of options for manage favorites, but I think it's a hidden gem of functionality because it just makes it so much easier, especially as you're new to Headset and you're like, man, all these dashboards are really cool, but I'm never going to remember how to find them. I would just run through and favorite all of them that you like. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I know some people have dropped off, but we have one more dashboard to go through, and it's a good one. Customer segmentation here is going to be found at the bottom under customer segmentation. We have 3 main dashboards. I'm only going to go through, well, I guess I'll go through 2 of them. Main one being segmentation overview. So segmentation is really how we identify customers, whether they fall into a champion, a loyal, needs attention. Each one of these segments is going to show up down here. If you're curious and want to learn more, you can click on this little help article here. It's going to go into our RFM segmentation model, which means recency, frequency, and monetary value. And that's how we're grouping each one of these customers. There's a lot of numbers behind it, how the formula actually works. But essentially we're looking at like, okay, if someone spends a lot of money, they come in a lot, and they have come in recently, they're probably going to be a champion or loyal customer. If we haven't seen them in a while, but they traditionally have spent a lot of money, they might be showing up in our potential loyalist or needs attention, because those are customers that have spent a lot of money, but we want to get them back in the store to continue giving us their money. So that's how we're looking at these different customer segmentations. So what you can do from here is, I should mention too, different customer attributes. So either looking at email or phone number, whatever you have more of in your loyalty program, I recommend choosing that metric. And if you have questions, you can look at these top 2 tiles to say, okay, we have more phone numbers, so let's look at it that way. So the customer accounts are going to be within the last 365 days. That's always going to be the time frame associated with this segmentation overview. And we can see here we have, a smaller amount of champions, but they bring in a ton of revenue. So that's going to be pretty apparent no matter where you are. That's going to be pretty common. Hibernating, or let's say like needs attention. We have a decent amount of needs attention, but they brought in like an okay amount of revenue. Same with at risk. So if we really want to focus on, okay, our millennial males that like to buy concentrates and flower, they're shopping around 3 p.m. Let's figure out how to maybe like sort by our millennial males and our at risk to try and entice them to come back into the store. So I'm going to look at risk here. I'm just going to click on the seafoam green color, and I'm going to click at risk segmentation file. This is going to take us to a file with a list of all of our customers that fall under this segment. And we'll be able to see what these people's top categories are. And we can even see like all the millennial males too. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, okay, their favorite category is concentrates. We can just look at all the millennial males and maybe target just that one very specific segment. So our at risk, what you'll find if you do go to that help article is a description of all of our different segments, but it's also handy that they show up actually within the dashboard. So we'll give you what an at-risk person means, and then a recommendation. So offer targeted focus on re-engagement, such as discount on their favorite category, exactly what we've been talking about. Segment stats, so we can see number of customers, what their average basket is, average days between visit and basket count, again, in the last year. And then we have a handy dandy customer list that you can download. So Jesse, exactly what you were asking about. You can hit this tile actions up here in the upper right, click download data. You have some advanced options here. If this data, or if this list is more than 500 customers, which you can verify with customer count here, you're going to want to hit advanced options, custom, and then I would just do like a crazy amount of rows. All results is sometimes a little finicky, so I would just stick with the custom here and do that. But you see, you have all of your customer genders, your age groups, customer top categories. So if you wanted to get all those millennial males, looking at those guys in this age group here, when you download it, you can also look at what their average basket size is and days since last visit. They're at risk because they haven't been in a while. Someone with like maybe over, I don't know, 120, 200 days, maybe they moved, and that's why they haven't been back. So take this with a grain of salt as well. 300 days, that's a long, long time. And their average basket isn't that big. I'm looking at this person right here, Sarah F. I don't know if I would spend my money on her because maybe she wouldn't be that fruitful to spend money on. But someone with like an average basket of 243, he hasn't come in a while, so I don't know, but hopefully you understand like the point. Just, use your brain, but also like this data is really awesome and will help you make a lot of cool decisions. All right, I'm officially done talking. I did schedule this, I think, for 45 minutes or an hour, but thanks for sticking with it. I hope it made sense. I hope it gave you a nice tour of the marketing module. There's just so much data in there, but I really tried to be thoughtful about what dashboard specifically to look at as you're just getting started and taking a dive into this data. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'll stick around for a while. I'm happy to chat through anything, whether it be marketing related or anything else headset related.